5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. As always, we like to start off to give thanks and praise to those friendships and sponsorships that make this podcast possible. We want to start off with Yellow Jacket. Guys, Yellow Jacket is just an amazing company, guys. If you don't know who Yellow Jacket is, smack yourself in the nuts, because I'm not sure what the fuck you're doing out there. Guys, summer is coming. I've said it before. Everybody's looking to get those new manifolds, trying to test them out, summer. Guys, test out their new manifolds. I won't go into detail. They're kind of getting beat to death as far as being talked about, but for a good reason. You got the P51 860 and the P51 870. Great manifolds. Guys, go to their website. www.yellowjacket.com. You can also search Ritchie Engineering. It's the same thing. Check out their manifolds, dude. They got a good lineup, guys. Good quality. I love my 870. The thing is built like a brick, and I have put that thing through the ringer. I really tested it, and I can't be happier with it. If you don't need that, summertime, you're gonna be doing a lot of leak searches, stuff like that. Guys, check out the Yellow Jacket UV leak detector. I love this thing. I really have. I've been the biggest H10 guy. Not saying I don't love the H10 still, but the Yellow Jacket UV leak detector has been a pleasant surprise. And when it comes to 410, this thing has been fucking amazing. So guys, as always, remember, Yellow Jacket, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. And you heard it here first, motherfucker.
Guys, if you have not checked out House Call Pro yet for your scheduling, dispatching, estimates, invoicing, follow-up marketing, maintenance agreements, like this program does it all. It's going to save you a ton of time, a ton of money, and it just streamlines your business in a simple way that everybody in the team will learn how to use this app super quickly. You can do it right from your phone. So one of the things that kept me from going to paperless invoicing was I was a little concerned about the upfront cost of tablets, because I was automatically thinking iPads, and you know how expensive they are. Well, guys, you don't even have to do that. Everybody's got a phone. You can start with your phone and then get tablets later. So there's just really no excuses. People are saving up to 30% just in the first year using, they've seen revenue growth of up to 30% just in the first year using this leading edge app. And they're constantly doing upgrades all the time. So I'm telling you, I use it in my business. It's absolutely wonderful and simple to use and simple to understand. So visit www.housecallpro.com/HVAC-uncensored, schedule a demo, and you're going to get a $50 free fuel card just for sitting through the demo and finding out how this program can streamline and automate your business. House Call Pro, guys, check it out.
And last but not least, guys, is Webbit. Especially for you small business owners, you small guys out there, we always know that we need an online presence. We have to be online nowadays. Guys, you got enough shit on your plate. Don't worry about the website thing, trying to create it yourself, all that kind of stuff. Guys, Webbit is who takes care of the podcast website. These guys are awesome. They're professional. They're backed by big companies. They're the sister company of a big company. They are awesome. Guys, it's $49 a month, including SEO, search engine optimization. You got an issue, you call them within 24, 48 hours. They'll make any change that you want. They have some world-renowned developers working for them, building these sites custom to what you want and to your specs. Guys, you cannot beat it for the price, and it's a headache. It's something off of your plate. So, guys, if you need a website, let us know. Email us at www.hvacuncensored@gmail.com, and we will forward you our representative, Tyler's information, and he will take care of you just as good as he takes care of us. On to the show.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the USA. And guys, thank you to all of our many global listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. Fuck. Oh, real fast before we jump into the podcast, guys, I want to let you know, guys, you know where to find us. Guys, subscribe to us on the Facebook group. Be a member. You're going to get any alerts or any updates that we want to give out in the Facebook group. Subscribe to us on YouTube, HVAC Uncensored on YouTube. Subscribe to HVAC Millionaire, Kelley's channel. Smash that subscribe button. Guys, we're on all the major podcast apps, every single one of them. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify. You can find us. Guys, smash the subscribe button on there. That way, every week when the podcast comes out, it's going to be there waiting for you. All right? There's no excuses. We made it easy for you. If you want to listen, get the information, subscribe, and the shit will be there. Now, on to the show.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelley McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast, guys. Episode 37. I am yours truly, Gil Cavey, sitting alongside my good buddy, Mr. Kelley McKay. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad that we got some spring weather finally. And I know when we were talking earlier, you had a couple of days and the shit hit the fan, and now it's kind of calmed back down. Well, now we're cooling back down a little bit, so everything's starting to calm down just a little bit. So, but I'm happy that summer's almost here, because this winter was rough for me. I know it was probably rough for some of you guys. If you made it through the winter with not too much stress and anxiety, then I'm super happy for you. This was not the case for us this winter. So I'm just really happy to get back into summer. I don't want to beat a dead horse talking about it, but it's always refreshing to get into summer. That's all I can say.
Oh, definitely, man. It's like the calm before the storm. And you guys know that I've been doing this for a while, man. You can't panic that time of the year, because it was the same for us, where winter was not great, especially here the last little bit before it started to warm up. It was getting pretty rough there for a little bit. But we kind of know that that's just times in this business where you got to try to make it through. You can't panic. They suck, but you got to get through. So I'm like Kelley. Thank God summer's coming. It's our money making time. It's time to put up or shut up. You know what I mean? So
it's time to get to work. It's we've talked before about the bitching about not getting your hours, and then bitching about having too many. So just take it as it comes, and you just got to go make it while it's there. That's why I always say go make money. This is the time. So
yep. That's for damn sure. Guys, real fast, I want to apologize for 2 weeks without a podcast, and I'll keep it brief. Me just not feeling well, some issues that I had to take care of that I won't go into detail with. Sorry. Anybody that knows me knows. But the other thing is, like me and Kelley just said, we both got busy, like really busy. It went from 0 to 100, and then trying to play catch up to do all that stuff. And me and Kelley, spontaneously recorded it one night. We didn't prep like we normally do for shows. We're trying to get something in, and we did our best, but me and Kelley both decided that we didn't think it was up to par as far as what we wanted to put out, so we decided not to. So take it or leave it. It was a little 2-week hiatus, but we're back, and you will see us Mondays from now on. So we apologize about the mix-up for all the loyal guys that I know you guys are looking for it every week. I had a lot of guys messaging me, especially 1 week without a podcast. They were like, hey, oh man, you all right? And then the second week, they're like, dude, are you okay?
Right.
I'm like,
right.
yeah, I'm good. Everything's all right. So we appreciate you guys, man, and we're back on track. Don't you worry about that.
Thank you so much for the support and the love, guys. We just can't thank you enough, and we appreciate it. And it's one of the reasons why we keep doing it, So thank you. Yeah,
definitely, man. It's and it doesn't feel good when we don't get something out, man, because it does. Even though the guys are so cool, I do like to be a man of my word, and when a podcast is supposed to be out every Monday, I want it to be there. But things happen, and it is what it is. But the fact that guys do reach out like that, it is really cool that guys. I mean, because if a Monday passed and nobody said a word, then I would be like, well, fuck. I mean, well, that stinks. I mean, people must not care that much. I mean, obviously,
Right.
We know people are listening by the downloads of the podcast, but the fact that people reach out like that, it does. It is touching, and it's cool that people care that much to reach out to see how I'm doing. So I appreciate you guys.
And I can tell that people, because we have, we've got a little handful of episodes out there at this point. So I can tell that some people are just now finding the podcast, because I've had a couple of messages myself where it's new to them. They're just now realizing that it exists. So once again, all that we ask of you guys is just to please share it. Please tell your friends about it, your coworkers about it, and your family about it if they might be interested in anything we got to talk about. And it's something to pass the time, and hopefully they'll learn something in the meantime. We always try our best to deliver some value every episode, and I hope you guys feel that way, because we really do try. And for a couple of knuckleheads, we don't do bad most times. So
no, it's okay. Some are better than others, but
very true.
And the other thing, guys, yeah, like we always say, if there's things that you guys want to hear or a topic, email us. You know what I mean? You guys know HVAC Uncensored at gmail.com. And if it's a topic that me and Kelley think that we can provide value or provide some informative information to be able to give you, then we'll do it. Or if it's something that, hey, we might know a guest, like, hey, we can bring this person on to talk about that, then we'll do it. So guys, I mean, like I said, we do this show for you guys, you know what I mean? So if there's something that you guys want to hear about and there's a way that we can do it, then fuck it, we're going to do it. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to reach out to us. We love the feedback. We love the interaction with you guys. So definitely do that. But we have a good show for you guys tonight that me and Kelley have sat down, and this kind of just popped up because of me and Kelley talking about the summertime and how we get busy and talking about different techs, and as a manager, and then Kelley as an owner, just talking about like what we want in a tech or what a good seasoned tech should have. Like so we kind of put together our top 10 traits or things that a seasoned tech should have. And we're not necessarily doing the obvious, like being on time and
having a license, shit like that.
Not looking like a fucking homeless person. So we're gonna say that those are gonna be obvious ones. So we're not gonna have. So don't bust our balls if guys are like, you left me on time. We're hoping that the guys who have the rest of these traits already know that basic stuff. So I guess we'll go. We can go back and forth. Me and Kelley have the same ones on our list, but maybe in a different order.
Sure. We're just going to talk about each topic a little bit. We'll dive a little deeper into each topic. So you want to go ahead and start with the first one?
Yeah, that's fine. So the first one that we thought of is efficiency. And I say efficiency because I have seen a lot of good techs. They're smart guys. They know what they're doing, but they're not efficient with their time. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I had a guy that was, absolutely great. I mean, great with customers, great work ethic, but he also wanted to spend 2 hours a day cleaning his truck. And that's not being efficient. Sometimes you can be a little too anal about the way your vehicle's set up or the way you set up before you do a job. So you always have to keep efficiency in mind. Time is money when it comes to doing the jobs. It's bid for typically a certain number of hours, and we've got to try our best to hit within those hours, as long as they're within reason.
Yeah, and if a job is bid or, hey, we bid 4 hours to change this compressor, it doesn't mean you got to take 4 hours. You know what I mean? Obviously that's what it's bid for. If you legitimately need it, then use it. You don't want to go over, but it doesn't mean stand around with your finger in your ass. You know what I mean? Efficiency is key and keeps the money. The more efficient techs can be, the more profit a company's going to make. That's the bottom line. If guys are, you have two guys and you send them out to do a PM, they're both great techs and do a good job, but one does that PM in 45 minutes and he does a great job. Customers love him. You got the other guy who does it in an hour and a half. Customers love him, but he's, doing it in twice the time. That's a problem. So that's what we mean by efficiency. And real fast before we go on, these are in no particular order. So we're saying 1 to 10, but it's not like this is the most important, just so you guys know.
I'll say one more thing about efficiency, because I know if you're a smaller company or you're a one-man company, then you're the one doing the schedule. But sometimes even in the smaller companies or the medium-sized companies, like there's going to be days where you may have a little bit of flexibility around your schedule. So I just think it's important to pre-plan. If you don't have a dispatcher that's planning your calls for you, then it could be up to you to route your calls. And you want to route them in a way that makes sense to where you're not zigzagging back and forth across town. And that may require a phone call to a customer to see if you can move them to a different time. So think of it that way too. Anything that you can do to save, efficiency is saving time,
For sure. You want to go ahead and get the next one?
Sure. So the next one is consistency. And consistency to me just means the first thing that pops in my mind is routine. Like if I'm going to be consistent, I need a routine that I follow each and every time. I need a path to diagnose units. Like I start here, then I go to my next step and my next step and my next step. Because if you don't have that path and you don't stay consistent, then you wind up with results that may not be what you're actually aiming for. So in order to get this consistent results, we have to deliver a consistent service. And consistency, that can be in all aspects of the business. That's why your boss may have a sales process. That may be why he's got a checklist that he wants you to go through on your service calls. All we're looking for, and all you should be looking for on each and every call and sales call, is consistency.
Yeah, and consistency is going to make you more efficient. Like Kelley just said, if you have a process on how you do things, how you handle a service call, how you handle the customer when you get to a call, how you greet them, the phone call, the text message, whatever, it's going to make you more consistent. And also consistency is that you're doing the same things, the right things, day in and day out. It's not turning on and off. You hear like in sports, like say football, oh, that guy's a great player, but he takes plays off. You can't take plays off. That's what we're trying to say. It can't be one day that you're gung-ho and you're doing everything by the book. You're doing what you got to do. And then the next day you're like, I feel a little lazy. So I'm doing this PM and I'm gonna half-ass it. I'm not really gonna do everything I need to do. You gotta be consistent, and believe it or not, it shows up. Like we say, if we know that a guy, let's just shoot PMs for example. If we know a guy, normally he's the guy who bangs them out in 45 minutes and never has any callbacks. The customers love him, and all of a sudden one day it's an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20, an hour and 25 minutes. You know what I mean? And no issues occurred. That kind of stuff's going to stand out. Okay. So, all right. So we've covered efficient, consistency. Or we also said, Kelley, consistency is all, weren't we going to tie that in with like commitment?
Yeah, I think that if you're going to be consistent, I mean that has to do with you being fully committed to your career and to the customer, and to deliver those consistent results. And one thing I also wanted to say about consistency is customers love consistency, because I mean think about McDonald's. McDonald's isn't so popular whether you still eat at McDonald's or not. At one point in your life, you ate some McDonald's. And you could go to any McDonald's in your city and you expect the same results. And you pretty much would get the same results. And that's just due to the consistency that McDonald's, through process and systems, that McDonald's is able to deliver consistency no matter where you're at in the world. And knowing what you're going to get, and as long as that first experience was good, and when you know what you're going to get every time you call that company, you're much more likely to be a loyal customer and to continue to call them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and even consistency, like you said, like using McDonald's. If you go to McDonald's anywhere, a Big Mac's a Big Mac. You want to be the same way in that company, where no matter which tech goes out there, hopefully they're all providing the same service because you're consistent. Obviously, you as a technician can't worry about what other guys are doing, so to speak. But you need to be consistent, have commitment in yourself and what you're doing, commitment into your company, that you're committed to do the best job that you can do for yourself, for the company, and for the customer. And when you do those things, it's definitely going to be it's definitely a good thing.
Yep.
So we've got efficiency. It's number one. Consistency / commitment is number two. Number three, I'm just scratching them off because I know that we have the same ones, but different order. Me on three, I have desire / drive. And I guess that this can kind of tie into commitment a little bit. But I'm going to swing it. I guess your desire and your drive is just it does go into being consistent, because you're going to have drive to help motivate yourself, but also to be better, to constantly be learning at your job, picking up new things, and I guess like volunteering for things, having that drive to keep yourself going, to have that self-motivation, especially when, you're real busy. It's a whole bunch of hours. You're tired. You don't really feel like going, but the drive to keep going and keep doing the right things. That sounded better in my head.
No, that sounded good. I mean, it is about desire. Like you've got to want to get better. You've got to want to jump in and try to figure things out yourself. If you're new and you're riding with somebody, well, we're talking about a seasoned technician, I guess. So scratch that. You can't lose your drive. As you, some of these you're going to find they just tie together. I mean, if you don't have the desire, then you're probably not going to have any commitment, and that's going to create being inefficient and poor consistency. I mean, if you don't have these things, but they go hand in hand, you gotta want it. You gotta have the desire to make the customer happy, to do the right thing for the customer on every single job. And you can't walk away from things knowing that it's wrong and still feel good about yourself. I mean, that's, you got to have the desire to actually, and that sounded better in my head too, but you got to have the desire to actually keep learning, because our industry changes constantly, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I think about it, it kind of, I guess the better word that I was kind of tied into is leadership. When you have that drive to do the right thing, and when you're working with other people and you see someone doing the wrong thing, that you step up to make sure that things are done right. You have that drive to know that things are done 100%. If they're not, we're going to do what we have to do to make it 100%. That you're not cutting corners.
Yeah.
And that also ties into the consistency and stuff like that. So I guess we'll just move on to the next one.
Sure. So on my list, I've got, and I'm just going to, this is a broad basis. We're just going to put a big bow around it. And we're going to say all aspects of people skills. Like, you have to be able to handle upset customers. You have to be able to handle differences between team members or between a teammate and yourself. You have to be able to communicate in a way to the customer that is respectful, is informative, and what I mean by that too is, like, we don't want to use our tech talk, and completely confuse them, because you're going to lose them if you start just rattling off a bunch of terminology and stuff. It's just easier to explain stuff in a way that they can understand. So, but I know when I was selling, like, if I found a dead compressor and I had to give some options, and if I had a helper with me, everybody would always say, "Oh, you're such a good salesman. You're a good salesman." Oh, I wasn't selling anything. I was just explaining the equipment, explaining their options, and showed them how it worked, and talked to them about how it worked in a way that they could understand. So I think that translates to sales a lot of times.
It definitely does. People skills are, it's how you deal with customers, how you deal with fellow employees. It's your attitude. I mean, it comes into your attitude. How you carry yourself is the persona you give off, the vibes you're giving off. It's huge in a company, and it makes a big difference in the outcome of your day and the outcome of each individual service call. As far as your communication skills on how you're perceived and how you're giving the information to these customers and how they're going to receive the information that you're giving them. Like Kelley said, some people use different analogies. You might see a customer is a football fan, and you use a football analogy or a car analogy or whatever you have to do. But you definitely don't want to beat them with technical talk, because a lot of these customers, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And they're like, oh, okay. And when you're doing that, all they're looking is at the bottom line on how much something costs. You've lost them. They're kind of just blocking you out.
Yeah.
So being able to communicate properly with anyone, we've had podcasts. We've talked about communication with your management, your owner, communication with your fellow technicians, and obviously communication with the customers is huge. You have to have those skills to be successful in this trade.
And it's something that if you're not good at, it can be developed. It just takes practice. The more time you spend with customers, the better you're going to get at it. So, but that also comes with, there's just certain things that we don't talk about. For me, I'm never going to bring up religion. I'm never going to bring up politics, because there is a lot of emotion wrapped around those subjects. And so it's very easy for somebody to take something that you said wrong or not fully understand how you said it. So it's just better to stay away from those subjects. And that's all part of developing people skills. You learn things, you learn what to say, what not to say, even about the equipment. I've had people ride with me, and they may, they start getting comfortable, and they'll say something with the customer, and they'll they'll kind of lead them off on a wrong path. And all it takes is one little phrase, and you can send the customer into a spiral, not just of worry and fear, because they're afraid that something's going to break, or it's not going to last, the repair's not going to last, or whatever the case. But so you have to be able to, communicate and give that customer peace of mind through your people skills. So it's something that we spend so much time learning about the technical side of our industry. And a lot of times, a lot of the people skills is just ignored. And it's a vital part because you're dealing with them every single day.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other thing about what you just said, God damn it, Kelley. Now I got a brain fart. Shit. Now I can't think of what I was gonna say. Yeah, God. Fuck, mother piece of shit. Fuck. Oh, what I was going to say is sometimes it is the person's personality, because I have known some guys that are very, very good techs. They don't have those natural people skills, or they're not a people person. And sometimes the communication is very hard for them, and it becomes a hurdle that is hard for them to get over. I agree with Kelley. It is something that you can learn. Sometimes it's easier for some people than it is for others, but to us, it's definitely a trait or a thing that you're going to be able to master to truly be successful in this trade.
Sorry, I'm muting my mic because there's a train going on. So if you hear a train in the podcast, just ignore it. But yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I can tell you is that the people with natural people skills, like, you're going to see a lot of reviews come through in your company for those people, whether they're great techs or not. Even if they've been doing it a long time, you'll see a lot of reviews come through. But that's something that's still worth a lot to the company, and it's worth a lot to the customers, because the customers can really, they're finding common ground with them, obviously.
This guy, ooh, that's this guy.
That son of a bitch.
Okay.
Don't ever send him to my house again.
That fucking Gil guy. That stupid fucking beard. All right, guys, moving on to the next one. It's going to be we have a couple of different things. It's giving a fuck, which is pretty much integrity, caring, that you give a shit about the company. Like, I hate it when I hear comments, like the one that really, really chaps my ass is when people say, I just work here. Well, what the fuck do you think the rest of us do? We don't have a cot. We sleep in the back. It's just knowing and caring about things. It's bigger than yourself. This company is more about not being selfish. That, you look at a job and you have to, even though you're not the owner, but the whole point of the company is to make a profit. You want to make money. That you step back and look, man, are we making money on this job? Did I price this right? Am I sitting here? And it goes into being efficient, consistency. Am I sitting here? Am I wasting time? Is what I'm doing right now for the greater good of the company?
Yeah, absolutely. I would also say, you've also got to look at this, just because one of your teammates is a nice guy and you get along with him and you may even be buddies with him, if he's not pulling his weight, like, he is taking money out of your pocket. You have to realize that when the pie gets bigger, there's bigger, you can earn a bigger piece of the pie, period. So if there's somebody that's not pulling their weight in your company, like, you have to care. You have to care about throwing, parts away that are still good, or throwing a warranty part. Like, you pulled out a warranty motor and threw it in the dumpster, and because you weren't thinking, and that's not caring. Like, you just don't give a fuck if you're doing that, because you're costing the company money. But you also got to care about the customer. You got to make sure that you truly care about their needs and what they need for their house, and be a professional and give them the solutions and let them decide which solutions they want to pick. But you have to care first before any of that, before anything else. You've got to care and say, like, for instance, if you go to a customer's house and let's say they need a condenser fan motor and a run cap, and you give them a price and they're like, holy cow, I don't know what to do. I got to make some phone calls, or like, you've got to show empathy and show that you care, and you've got to figure out a way to help that customer get that job. You don't want to leave the job with no cooling. You're already there. Like, I just heard Louis Bruno talk about this on one of the things I watched of him, and he's right. Like, you don't want to leave the job once you're there. Like, you paid all this money to get this customer to call you and and then you had to book the service call, and then you drove out to the call. Like, you don't want to just collect a diagnostic fee, and you really got to want that customer to be cool by the time you leave this summer. So if there's any way possible you can make it happen, by giving them a little extra time to make a couple phone calls or whatever it is, just show them that you care, and it just goes so far. And that's when you get 10 more referrals from those people.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, I do that personally. And also the obvious integrity things are, you don't steal, you're not stealing money. You're not
snagging a refrigerant bottle and throwing it in your garage, or
you using parts off your truck for side work, or stuff like that. And sometimes stealing is also, like Kelley said, stealing time, that you're fudging your timesheet and you're not where you're supposed to be, and things like that. And that's going to tie into some things later on as we go down the list. But all those things tie in, guys. You have to have the integrity, of the utmost. It's going to be one of the foundation, one of the big things that companies are built on. And if you don't have integrity, I don't think you would have made it very far in your career. But some guys can fake the funk. I can tell you that 100%.
Right, they can fake it. So
yeah. So
number 6.
Let's yep.
Let's do, it's going to be, absolutely, this comes if you're a seasoned tech, but this is what we were just talking about, is the fake it, fake it till you make it. Well, there's people that's been faking it for 15 years in our industry, or 25 years in our industry. And, but you have to have true knowledge, and that's the kind of knowledge that you just gain from making the mistakes, from getting stuck and frustrated and having to call your field service rep for the equipment, or having to call your service manager, having to give Gil a phone call and say, what do I do here, man? And being walked through some things, or taking a picture of, I'm talking about like coming up to become a seasoned tech. There was times where you had to snap a picture of the wiring diagram and send it to your manager to help you diagnose a system. And that, it just all comes, eventually you'll be the one who can look at a diagram and figure that stuff out. But I'm talking true knowledge of the field. Like, there's so many things to learn, let alone when just changing a condenser fan motor. It's not just about replacing that part. You got to learn how to wire it. A lot of times that requires rewiring it, because you may have a dual capacitor in there and it's not the right size. So now you've got to change it, and you've got a replacement motor that's got 2 run cap wires. So you're going to have to do a separate run capacitor, but learning how to take the fan blade off and when it's stuck and stuff like that. I mean, just true knowledge of all aspects of of repair and replacement. You got to have it.
Yeah, those little tips and tricks that you learn along the way to make your job easier. Like Kelley said, something as simple as changing a condenser fan motor. Yeah, rookie techs can do it. But that seasoned guy who knows that he's got to spray a little WD-40 or Aerocroil on there and sand the shaft down. He knows how to get that blade off efficiently. He knows how to do it right.
He knows where to set the blade when he puts it back on the new motor,
Exactly, that if I put this in the wrong spot, then I'm going to be pulling air out of the top of the coil, and I need to make sure I do this for vibration. I need to remove the port that's you're supposed to pull out of universal motors that is supposed to make it breathe, and a drainage port that a lot of guys don't take out. Like Kelley said, how to wire it up correctly. If I got a universal and this thing's got 4 wires, that they're going to know that white wire and that brown wire with the white stripe is the same leg. Okay. That you can wire nut that brown wire, still use your dual capacitor, and it's just going to be, you can wire up the same way. The brown wire goes to the capacitor, and then your white to common, and then the black one to the contactor. The same thing. To learn those little things that get down. And the main reason we brought this up is being true to yourself of what your knowledge is, that not thinking that you know more than you do. Guys, we hear all the time those guys that, man, I've been in the field 20 years. And like we just said, they go out to change a condenser fan motor, and it's like the hardest job ever. Okay, sometimes guys can be doing the wrong things for a long time. There's guys that I've met that have been in the trade 6 years, 5, 6, 7 years, but they're smart guys. They've learned the right way. And some of these guys, 5, 6 years would blow away some of these guys I know that have been doing it for 15, 20 years. So just because you have time in something doesn't mean that you know more than somebody else or you're doing something better. I mean, normally, do the guys that have more time, do they know more? Yes, because of repetition. They've done it so many times, they've learned from their mistakes. But it doesn't always mean that these guys are, do everything right, because it's not always the way. To know your weaknesses of what you need to get better on, cocky and confident is a little two different things. You can have a little swagger about yourself, but you got to be realistic on what and not try to bullshit your way through stuff. Sorry, Kel. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, since you said that, it brought up another point, which is, not if you don't know, not being afraid to call somebody. A good, true, knowledgeable tech in the field, there's no shame in calling anybody, because you can explain exactly what you got and have the manufacturer help you if you need. But I forgot what I was going to say earlier, so we can just move on to the next one.
No, that's fine. The next one on my list that is, and like I said, a lot of these tie in and they're in no particular order, that I have on my list is going to be being a team player. And we won't stay on this too long because we've kind of touched on this before, but being that guy that's willing to, help your teammates do the right thing, that if you see them doing something wrong, or an easier way, that, oh, hey man, why don't you try doing this, and don't come across like an asshole, like, oh man, just fucking step back, you're doing it wrong. Oh no, buddy, hey, why don't you try doing this? Why don't you bend the wire around like this, and that way, it stays out of the way of this, and blah blah blah, or do your gas line like this. Being a team player, that you're trying to help, your colleagues be better, that you're stepping up at the company. The boss says, oh, hey, we got a job going on Saturday. I know it's last minute. Can you work this weekend? Sure, boss. No problem. I can do it this weekend. You're being dependable, that they can count on you, that you're a team player. That you're not going to be that selfish guy that, oh no, I got something to do this weekend. Go ahead, Kel.
Or if your calls went really smooth that day, and you're like, oh, my calls are done. Fuck, I'm going home. Well, why not call or ask the dispatcher, how's everybody else doing? Does anybody need help? And just being that team player, and helping somebody else out, or taking one of their calls if your calls went better than theirs did today. It's just about, ultimately the better the team. And that's a opportunity there for you to step into a leader position someday. You gotta, it's that old saying, the reap what you sow. You gotta sow now so you can reap later. It's like planting the seed. You're constantly planting seeds, so someday you're gonna have a better position, and you'll be respected by your teammates, and they're all gonna look up to you as a leader. So
Here's the man. Here's the man.
all right, so we've hit on that enough. So the next one that I have on my list, which is accountability. Accountability, that's a big subject, but you've got to be able to be held accountable. So if there's something that needs to be done, a job that needs to be finished, a key performance indicator, a KPI that you're supposed to try and hit, like you've got to be aware of those and do the best you can and hold yourself accountable each and every day. If you've got a sales number that you're trying to hit every day, hold yourself accountable for it. If you take parts of your truck on a service call, be accountable to make sure that you get replacement parts back on there, because that's what's going to keep you consistent and efficient. So just being accountable. What do you got on that subject, Gil?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, as far as, putting gas in the truck, because you probably have a gas car. You're not running out of gas. You're the oil changed on time. Like Kelley said, getting the parts back in there. Accountability as far as, damn it, my brain does not work. Jesus Christ. Man, that is bad.
Yeah.
I'm like an old man with dementia where I can't remember things, and it was good too. Damn it. Accountability. Oh, if you make a mistake, if you do something wrong, that you own it. Hey, it's my bad, boss. I made a mistake. Blah blah blah. That you're not one of those guys that's gonna something messed up on a job and you're gonna pass it on to somebody else.
Who touched it.
That wasn't me. That was Jimmy. Jimmy's the one who did that. That you're going to be accountable for your actions. You're going to hold yourself to a certain standard, and you're going to be a man if you make a mistake. It's what it boils down to. I still had something else, and I might think of it before we get done, but
that's
probably
okay.
not.
You want to move on? You do the next one. Go ahead.
Yep. All right. Number 9 is going to be, I guess this is we won't stay on this one long either, because this one kind of ties into the other ones, is going to be your influence. And I guess this is the more I think about it, it's kind of the same as being a team player. Your influence is how that if you are that seasoned guy, on how you are passing your knowledge on to the younger generation, how you are helping, how you treat your helper.
One thing that I think of, sorry to interrupt you, but one thing that I think of is like what you just said, passing your knowledge onto somebody else and explaining why you do it this way. What's the purpose? What do you save? How does it help it? I don't know how to describe it, but that's influence. Like, showing somebody and explaining why, you're going to have more influence over them than just saying, do it this way.
Well, yeah, because, you're, what do they say? You can, what is it? You can, what's the one? Teach a man to fish.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't, or lead a camel to water, but you can't make him drink, or teach a man to feed a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he, eats forever.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, just having the influence to, to be able to pass your knowledge on to the younger guys, to teach them the why on why you're doing things to help them grow, because the more they grow, it's going to make it easier on you, especially if you're like a lead installer or something like that. And sometimes it's just being available by phone, being that one that guy can call on, because you know how it is. Sometimes calling the boss or the manager, it's intimidating because you don't want them to know that you don't know something or you're having trouble. So when you have that guy that you can call that can help talk you through something when you're in a jam, and the boss never has to know the call got done right, it kind of puts them at ease and just makes that person be like, man, that Kelley, man, he's an awesome guy, man. It's so cool that I can call him if I get stuck, and he helps me out and doesn't make me feel like shit or make me feel like I'm stupid or something like that. So we're going to spread that out. Your influence on the younger generation.
Well, you have to be a role model to have influence, right? I mean, bottom line is you're a role model. And so you have to be thinking, if you're going to be influential with somebody or a group of people, they need to believe that you're the person who has the answers and who knows how to do things. And so in order for that to happen, you've got to show them that you do know, and that just comes with all your experience, and you'll naturally have more influence. But there's also a lot of older guys out there that have been doing it for a long time who have become real cynical, and they're just, I don't know, they just don't care. They don't have any, they don't realize that the impact that they could have on their teammates. So that's why, the ideal seasoned tech, who I would look up to in any company would have the ability to influence me.
I agree.
I concur. Okay, good. Do you concur? I concur.
Yeah, I concur. Your wager is Texas with a $. Sorry, it's up one of those old ones where what is it? Shit, who is that? I think it's Will Ferrell. He's playing somebody, and he's like, they're doing Jeopardy. He's like,
and he's Alex Trebek.
He has his answer, and he's like, Texas with the $. He's like, that is not the right answer. He's like, what did you bet? And he's like, thrive. He's like, I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next person.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the Saturday Night Lives, the Jeopardy Saturday Night Lives, go check those out on YouTube. They're hilarious.
Yeah, fuck. All right, number 10. If you want to go ahead and do it, and I think this is a very big one.
It is, and it's being able to balance our relationships, our health, our career, and not get too burnt out in any one particular area. And I think that's something that I've been studying more and more of, and it's like we can push and struggle and work hard, or we can be in a state of flow, which is just, knowing that we've prepared for the day. We're going to do the best that we can. And it's just all about your attitude and going into it to create a better day. And the better day that you have, the more balance you're going to have, because when you get home, you're not going to be upset, because something happened during the day. You'll actually be able to, we talked just a little bit about this, earlier this week, and get one thing that Gil said, and he'll probably bring it up too, and he can talk more about it, but is just being able to, separate work from your home life. So why don't you go into that a little bit, Gil?
Yeah, man, guys, you have to be able to have that switch and turn it on and turn it off, because it's kind of hard to have a healthy work life if home's not healthy. Not saying you can't do it, but it starts to get hard when they don't carry over. That's why you see guys who have like drinking issues or drug issues. And a lot of guys say, oh, well, what you do on your own time is your business. And it's right. But most guys who have a problem can't keep it on their own time. It starts to roll over into work time. So in as far as your relationship with your wife, I hear there's guys on here asking advice like they're getting divorced and different things like that. So when you're home, you need to be home. It doesn't matter that last call sucked and you had to climb under this fucking crawl space and change this motor and your fucking back hurts and it sucks. Well, maybe your wife had a shitty day too. So why go into the house and, start off a shitty conversation with your wife and now your night's going to suck. You and your wife are bickering. You're both pissed off. Why not come home and be like, God, it's so good to see you, baby. It's been a fucked up day. Give her a kiss and leave work in the truck, man. When you get out of that fucking van and you close the door, all that woosah, all that bullshit, leave it in there. Leave it in the truck. When you get back in the truck the next day, if you want to deal with it then, which you shouldn't, you should be done with it. But, enjoy your kids, guys. Like we work a lot of times in the summertime. I have 4 kids. There's people that have more kids than me. Even if you have one kid, a dog, a friendship, whatever it is, spend that quality time when you're there. Because now we're getting into the season where we're going to have to make every second count because we're going to be working some of those. This is when we make all our money. We're going to be working those 12, 14, 16-hour days. You're going to get home at your dog tired. And that's what I mean by balancing your home and your life. Home and work, financials, balancing your money, all that kind of stuff becomes very big in the longevity of your career, how you move up in a company, how you carry yourself. So to me, all that is a balance in just how you intertwine those things.
Yeah, I recently found a guy his name's John Butcher. And if you go to mylifebook.com, like this guy, he's figured it out. Like he has, I don't know how, I think he's been married 30 years and he's, him and his wife are just madly in love. And I'm really interested in their product, which is, basically, you basically design your life. And it's very in depth. So I know it would take a lot of time. They do workshops and stuff, but you might check it out. mylifebook.com. He's on YouTube. There's an interview with him on Mind Valley. And I just found him fascinating because now they're super, super rich because, the Precious Moment dolls, like those that have been around forever, like he owned that company. But he owned like 20 companies, and he got to the point where the anxiety was so bad and he was having panic attacks that he couldn't leave his house anymore because the stress was just overtaking him, and he had to figure out how to figure it out, like figure out this life thing and how to balance everything. And so him and his wife, they started picking apart, like, how can we change this? And that's when they came up with this life book thing that he calls it, which is just a way to not only find your purpose, but there's basically 12 areas of your life that he breaks down and has you deep dive into each one of them. So balance is something that I think we're constantly seeking, because if you want to like grow your business, for instance, well, it's going to take some of your energy, your time, and possibly your money to grow the business. So you start focusing on that, it oftentimes steals away from your, your relationships. When summer picks up and you get super busy and you're running calls nonstop, well, the demand is there. It's time to go make the money so you can take the really nice vacation, when summer's over. But that requires some sacrifice to go do those. So it's amongst the chaos of being super busy, it's trying to just find that balance to where you still go on a date night. Like you never miss this date night. You still have, you sit down to watch a movie or whatever your thing is with your significant other, because I think that's the key. This is your partner in life. If you're married or if you got a girlfriend, it requires a good relationship to have to be able to function perfectly at a high level or high performance level during your work day.
Well, one big thing is, remember, why do we work, guys? We remember what you go to work for. Okay. Work should be a means to get what we want in life, not our life, so to speak. You know what I mean? So we go to work to provide for our family, to be able to do the things that we want in life. But you got to remember to live that life. Okay. Relationships are important, guys. My father told me at a young age, and it's something that has carried with me. I treat my wife like a queen. Does that mean that we don't argue sometimes? Yeah, of course we do. But I treat my wife like a queen for many reasons. For one, I love her and I want her to know that she's my queen. And I want her to feel special. I want to treat her that way. Also, I want my daughters to see how a woman is supposed to be treated. If you treat your wife like shit, you smack her around or you talk down to her, what do you think your daughters are going to look for when they get older? All right. So the way I treat my wife, I want my daughters to be like, I want them to know that that's how they need to be treated when they get older. And then the other side is my sons, I want them to know that that's how they treat a lady when they get older. So that it's a whole big life lesson that kids are they're going to know what they see, what they grow up in. If they grow up, let's just be honest. If you have a kid, then you grow up in an abusive household, chances are he might put his hands on a woman, and not because that he's a bad guy. It's just because that's what he knows. And I'm not saying that to be offensive or something like that, but you know what I mean? It's that when you can give off those kind of things at home, it's going to make everything else better. So I don't want this to spiral too far.
Just balance. I've talked about triggers before, so you can use certain triggers, like when you walk through that door every morning to come into the office, or when you jump in your van in the morning to head to your first call. Well, every time you grab that door handle, that could be a trigger for you that it's time to go to work, and it's time to serve my customers at the highest level. And then on the opposite end, like when you shut that door, or it could be your doorway at your house, when you get home, you walk to that doorway, you got to decide who you're going to be when you walk in and you visit your wife. Like, who are you going to show up as? Are you going to be, the angry, pissed off, victim, or are you going to be there to love on her and or him, if you're a woman technician, whatever it is, you've got use triggers. Like, find yourself a trigger and decide who you're going to be when you hit that trigger, whatever it is, whether you walk through it, whether you touch it, as you're maybe it's the door handle. As soon as you grab the door handle to go in your house, you know that you want to be happy, smile, and loving. And it could be those three things. And you want to make sure that you show up that way as soon as you touch that door handle before you walk through that door. So use triggers to your advantage, and use them on the work side too, just so you are showing up as you want to be portrayed, to be the character that you, to have the character that you want people to see in you.
Agreed. All right, my friend, we're getting over that hour mark. I think this is good, guys. I think this was really good. We hope that you guys enjoyed this, that, these are things that you guys can see. And if there's one of these areas you think that you're lacking, that maybe you guys can take some of this info to help your game, to make, as always, we want you guys to be the best people, the best technicians that you can be. So hopefully some of this information you guys can take in to kind of fine tweak and tune your game, and hopefully that helps you. But let's go ahead and close it out
guys,
there,
Tony
Cal.
Robbins always says to just, how do you get better results? You ask yourself a better question. So how can you be more efficient? How can you stay consistent or be more consistent? How can you increase your people skills? How can you bring back that fire in your belly again and get the desire that you once had as a young technician? How can you show that you care that much more when you go to your next customer's house? And the true knowledge, you just have to get that every time. You're going to get that even more knowledge when you actually show the customers that you care and you are efficient and consistent and develop your people skills. But, how can I help my teammates? What can I share today to teach them something? How will I hold myself more accountable? How can I have greater influence? There's all different types of models of influence to study out there. And how can I gain more balance in my life? What am I lacking right now that I need to implement so I can create more balance and have a happier home life and a happier work life? So yeah, it's time to get on, but ask yourself those questions. Ask yourself a better question and get a better result. So thanks so much for listening, guys. Please share this with your friends, family, coworkers. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. I hope everybody's having a great spring, and go make money.
Yeah, guys, as always, man, we love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we always know that this podcast would be nothing without you guys. Once again, we apologize for the lapse on the 2 weeks, but we're going to get back on track. I'm going to keep this ending short, man. Like we said, I hope you take some of this stuff and you use it in your own personal life and your game. We want you guys to be the best versions of you can be. We want you guys to go out there and be fucking rock stars, make money, be happy, successful, and live life to the fucking fullest. All right. So guys, remember, do the little things, man. Always set yourself apart from the next guy. Guys, be safe. Always make it home the same way you left. And guys, remember, we fucking love you here at HVAC Uncensored. We appreciate all you motherfuckers, man. And till then, we will talk at you motherfuckers later. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.